Alright, hello, this is Josh at Logic Chronicles, and last time what we did for this dialogue system was we created this widget. We went over into the character that we put in this test content folder. We opened him up. We created a sphere trace. We came over here. We made some interface functions, and we hooked it up. We sent some stuff over to the dialogue component, and over in the dialogue component right over here, what we did was we did some begin play stuff, just to kind of get some things initialized and whatnot, or at least that initialized, if it's need to be, if it's for a player. Over here we kind of just got some variables. We did some stuff to figure out how he's going to greet the player, got the greeting. Now we're over here. We sent this through over here at this add display dialog. Here we are. We came to here. We tested it with a breaking point. Turned out I need to actually change the collisions on this guy right here, which I did. If I can find it right here, make sure that that was checked. Right. So I did all that, fixed some stuff up, and then we had this debug print strings over here to make sure that we can actually print. We're actually at this point, and everything works. So this far, we should just have this. There, it worked. Alright, here, we got to this point. Now what I did was I came over here, and the next part is to actually start displaying some dialogue. That's the next part of this. But the thing is, excuse me, the thing is, we need to make a widget so we can actually display the dialogue, okay? Now I'm just going to bring it up over on the other screen here. And let me zoom in so I can actually see what happened. Come here, we're going to create another widget. And we'll call this dialogue answer underscore widget. Alright. Now if I open this up, as far as display goes, we're going to have a border of what I did. We'll throw that down there. 0, 0. Just look at the dimensions. I said over here some ridiculous number that's not rounded off at all. We'll say 800. Okay. And for the Y, it does not actually matter for now, but we'll just say 300. You'll see why in a minute. Now, generally when I'm doing this, I do not like looking at a bright white screen like this, so what I do, I'm going to bring this down to about that. So it's wrong one actually. It's not that one. This one down, the brush color, down to this kind of gray color. So it's nice and kind of gray, but we kind of want, that's not too desirable because I kind of want to see the background just a little bit. Just do that twice. All right. Sorry. We don't really want to. We kind of want to see the background just a little bit, so we're going to take down this alpha to about 0.3. It's kind of grayed out. We can kind of still see in the background. You don't want this to. Actually, we'll probably bring it to 0.4. So it's kind of light. We want to so we can actually still read the text on the screen itself. Okay. We want to actually still read the text on the screen itself. So we got that. Now the next thing is we're going to put a vertical box. We'll throw that on top. And scroll down, see what's in this vertical box. Okay. We're going to come back here and say spacer. Throw a spacer in here. We are going to get a text. Okay. We're going to want another text. We'll move that in a second. We'll just throw it out there for now. We'll say a horizontal box. Should have put the other text out too, because we're going to need another text, but we'll throw a button. And now we need a text again. Take this text, put it in there. This text, put it in here. And this one, alright. So this one will be, actually we'll come up here first. This first spacer, I put the spacing, okay, so this first one, this size is really how large you want it to be. So we'll say 1000 for now. We'll come here to this border and say size of content. So there we go. Takes up that entire length. Okay. And also for this Y, what we'll do on the Y on this spacer is we'll set that to 5. so we've got a little bit of kind of padding going on there. Now we'll hit this text. Now this display, we're gonna you don't really need to type this in because this is gonna be dynamically changed in gameplay. But what we'll do is we'll just kind of put a display thing in so we can kind of get a good feel for how it's gonna look. So say display name. There we got a display name, and we're gonna put a padding on this of 10. That way it's kind of nice, not quite touching the edges. It'll give it a little bit of a more refined look to it. And within this horizontal box, what I did is I'm probably won't need that horizontal box now that I actually think about it. Just throw it out there. Delete that horizontal box. Just make sure that this is right here. I'll put a padding of 20 on here. There we go. That looks that. The whole point of the horizontal box is there's supposed to be a spacer here, so it'd be kind of pushed over so that we have the name displayed, and underneath it, kind of like kind of like a subtext sort of thing. So it's better for presentation. Well, actually, before we do that, let's finish this up right here. Let me see what font this is at. The font size that I used was 30. This will be all up to style, so you can kind of really do whatever you want here. This is just what I did because I thought it looked nice for testing purposes. Again, this font is 626. This is kind of just up to you and whatever you design it to be. It could be whatever, but I think it looks nice like this for now. So you can put whatever, like this background display. You can probably put something like some parchment paper back there if you want kind of like a fantasy type of feel. Same with this button. Or you can probably do like some sort of sci-fi background of some sort, whatever you're trying to go for. Okay. For this button, actually, we are going to, I believe we're going to kind of have it collapse into that corner a little bit. And to do that, we'll go like that. So it's collapsed down there in that corner. Oh, and we want some padding on that before we do that. Let's say padding of 10. Okay. Now the text itself. Okay, that padding's good. Good. We'll say continue right here. And continue. What was that? And what I did was I came to this font. Instead of bold, I put lights, I believe. Yeah, I put light there. Again, you could do whatever you want, but that's what I did. I think it looks better that way. Just a little, I don't know. I think it just looks a little nicer. I'm probably wrong, but who knows? You have your own taste. For this, though, on the other hand, we need to make sure that this is kind of an important part of it. Because we want this to wrap around the text. But we want to do it a certain way so that as it keeps going, as this kind of keeps, if this gets longer, we want it to kind of wrap around and come back down, okay? Now, what I did is hit auto wrap and then type 900. I felt that 900 is kind of a nice middle ground because it still gives a little space on the edge, so it's not actually going all the way. To test this out, what I like to do is just say display dialog. Alright. Now hit enter, and I'm just gonna rapidly press some keys and the space bar and just kind of look at it. See how it wraps around so nicely? And then if I keep doing this, keeps going, there we go. See, that's a nice wrap around there. So, see some space here if you want to. You can kind of fine tune it a little bit and say 950. See how it moved over a little bit. Let's say 1000. See how that looks. Whatever. Leave it 900, just so it kind of gives that space. Less kind of idea. So that way it wraps around and kind of looks nice, right? Now, so it actually looks like a proper display. I'm just hitting the minus button, just so you know. There we go. Now it has some dashes. Let me just keep going so it looks a little fuller. Right there. This just kind of gives a rough idea of how it's going to be. You know, the dialogues can continue. It's going to go on. Okay? Now, to actually switch, we're done with the actual design part of what it looks like. Again, you can come back here and actually edit this and actually make it look presentable later. But we'll come over here to the graph actually now. We're going to come over here and add a couple different things. We will add here, first things first, display NPC name. It should be string. Okay, so we got that. We want this to be edible, expose on spawn. Now we need another one. Let's say display text. Now this same thing, edible, expose on spawn. Now we can come back over here and we can actually grab this name. Well, don't do that. You want to come here to this binding, and we'll say the binding will be this NPC name variable that we had. This one will be the binding, will be the text that we had. Now, I might be wondering why in the world didn't I just use a text variable here? Why did I use a string? I don't know. I just kind of did. That's just what I did in the struct. That's what I did here. I mean, if you want to change it, you'd have to go back over there and change it. I mean, it is what it is. All right. Now, the next thing we'll do is say use continue button and hit boolean for that. We'll have another variable, let's say duration, and you might be thinking, what is this one for? You will see. This is good, part of that nice little feature that I showed you guys earlier. We'll have another one, and we'll say answer struct. Say answer struct. These should all be editable and exposed on spawn, by the way. All of these right here. Make sure that, yeah, all of those so far. Okay. Now we need another one. We'll say voice, and this should be a bytes, and we do that, Alright, that's nice. Now we need just check what variable that type that actually is. Okay. Come here and say display color. The point of this is to have it so when you're actually doing this out, you have characters talking. Like, say you have multiple characters kind of interjecting their dialogue all at once. They won't all be the same color. So over here, this will be one character. So you have John speaking. John is blue. So John, everything that John is saying will be in blue. Or if you had like Paul speaking, Paul's like pink. These will be pink for Paul. So that way, you know, when you come over to this widget over here, what it'll do is it will stack it up into here. It'll keep stacking things up. It probably doesn't need to be a scroll bar actually, but oh well. Anyway, it'll stack it up into here so different dialogue will be displayed, and each character talking, they will have different colors representing them, just to kind of make it look nice. Alright, now back over to the graph. And what we actually want this color to be of type, was that slate brush? Yes, slate brush. Just double check. Slate color. There we go. That's what we want it to be. Okay. By default, I'm just gonna set this to black. Don't really need to, but I'm going to. Let me check what else. Okay, so I got that, and that. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Alright, we're good. So that does that. We will get rid of this, and we'll get rid of this. All we need is this. Okay? And we'll come over to this button and say on clicked. That is good. Bring that up here. At the very beginning, have a branch. Now we're going to pass in this variable right here, continue button. If we want to use the continue button, so that is this button right here, we won't do anything. Simple enough. But if we want to use this continue button, then we'll have another branch. And we'll say, is this duration greater than 0? The reason why is because this duration, well, actually I'll do this out first, and then we'll actually talk about why we're doing this. We'll say delay. We'll take this duration and throw it into the delay. Copy paste. Okay. I'm gonna leave this like as is for a second, but we're not gonna leave that like that for long. We're gonna connect this. Okay. And we will grab this guy. here. We'll say remove from parent. We're not going to do this right away, actually. This is just here temporary. We're going to put another function over here, or we're going to call another function from. Oh, we need one more thing, one more variable. Sorry. Dialog component. Dialog. There we go. We need this one here. Okay. We need this editable and expose on spawn. We're gonna need this. What we'll do is we'll actually return once this is done. We'll actually return something here. We'll actually call a function on here or an event. We'll call an event off here to actually let the dialog component know that this dialog should be changed. Okay. Either by this delay or when you actually click the button, it should change, and then it will remove itself. Okay. So this guy controls itself. We don't have to worry about removing him manually. Everything will be good. Okay. So ideally, when we actually spawn this, we want to set this delay. So basically, it'll be on the screen. So say the audio lasts, like the person's speaking some crazy long line, and his dialogue lasts for 2 seconds. So we want this to be displayed on the screen for 2 seconds. This continue button won't be there, right? Let's just pretend we're using just dialogue. That continue button's not there. So he's just displaying this, right? We want to check to make sure that, you know, if there's actually a duration, like if it's supposed to go with some audio, we want to be able to delay it so that it actually lines up with the audio. So that once the audio is done, it'll delay, shoot through, and then remove itself. Okay? Now, in the case that there is no audio playing, but we're not using the continue button, we gotta make sure something happens. So just in case if for whatever reason some line was not fully there was no dialogue recorded for a certain line, or maybe you want part of your game to be fully audio, or to be audio and some games to be partly to be text. If you want to switch back and forth for whatever reason, you know, you might want this option. So that way it'll just keep flipping through, so you don't have to keep clicking the continue button. Whereas if we're using continue button, we'll just click this, we'll ignore everything here, and just once we click, alright, change it. You know, we can even have it so the audio is playing, and just click the button, just keep going. Alright? That's how we can do it. Do it both ways. What we will need to do now is determine how long, because 0.2 seconds is not very long to read a word or a sentence. Okay? You know, but then at the same time, 10 minutes or 10 seconds won't exactly will be too long to read a simple sentence. You want something that'll kind of, you know, adjust itself to however long the text is on the screen. And this you're gonna have to kind of play around with. We're gonna get the actual text itself. We're gonna get its length. And you can see here, this is actually the number of characters in the string. Okay? It's very important. This is actually, you know, like right here. This is count up all of these, and that's how long, that's that number that's going to return right here. What I decided was I'm going to multiply this by a float. I'm going to call it 3. I'm going to multiply it by 3. I'm going to divide this by 2. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply it by 0.1. You can print this number, we'll print this number out so you can actually see the delay when we're doing it. We'll plug that in. No, we'll do it this way. That. Again, this won't actually be here for this. I'll actually break that so once it actually pops up, remember what it's actually coming to. Let's see, append. I'll throw this right here and we'll say dialog display time. That's it. Alright. So once it comes here, we'll actually see how long it's actually going to stay on the screen for before it actually finishes the delay and then remove itself. Okay. But the whole idea, this is just something that I found that it kind of just felt somewhat natural. I mean, you could probably find a better way. You know, figure out okay how many the length, and then figure out how the average sentence, how many characters are in the average sentence, and then figure out how long does it take a person to read a paragraph, figure out how many sentences should make a paragraph, say 4 sentences per paragraph, and say it takes I don't know, someone 5 seconds to read a paragraph or something, I don't know. You can probably figure that out, calculate it, and just kind of do something with it. but this is just good enough for now. I mean, it will. Some of them will feel like it's gonna take a bit. Some of them are gonna feel like it's just on the nose. You know, it is what it is. So just know you can always experiment with that too. Okay. Now we got to hook this up right here. Now, in order to do that, I'm going to come over here. Save it just for the other screen. Okay, let me pop this up on the other screen, and we'll come over to this dialog component. Okay. Now for this dialog component, what we'll do, what we're going to need, just double check here. Make sure this is actually, yep, that's what we're doing. Okay. Now what I'll do is I'll say custom events over in the dialog component. We'll say continue dialog. So continue dialog, okay. Now we're gonna need a couple different things. We're basically gonna have the same inputs over here, it's just I didn't put them in that order. Okay? Why? I don't know, but I didn't. They're in a different order. But I'm gonna keep it because it looks like it's a little more convenient to have it this way. In terms of like pins and all that, so it's not as messy. So we'll say NPC name. Oh, come on. Say NPC. Oh my gosh, NPC name. Okay. Just make sure I'm consistent. Alright. Next, what we need is answer struct. I'll say unit answer. Okay. Unit answer. Okay, now we just basically copy up here. So this be boolean. Say use continue button. We'll go another one, and we'll say voice byte. So nice. Voice byte. There we go. Turn this into a byte. And that is it with this. So we can come back over here and we can finish this widget. Say continue dialog. We'll put that there, that like that. Alright, now we just drag this out and put in the variables as needed. Okay. Throw that there. Take this. Throw that there. No, don't do that. Take this. Throw that there. Alright. Now just a little bit of cleanup, just to make it look nice and pretty, so we can actually just finish this and never look at it again. Okay. We'll come over here to this. Over in display, we'll grab this button. And we will come over to visibility and set binding. We'll say branch. And we'll say use continue button. So if it should use a continue button, obviously we're going to want it visible, but if it's not visible, we want to hide it. But we're not just going to put hidden, we're going to have collapsed. So that way it will take up absolutely no space over here. This will just collapse down, and it'll be as if that's never been there. Just so there's not just like a big gap leaking right there, it'll look a little bit better. Okay? That'll take care of that. And let me just double check to make sure that is everything. Wait, no it is not. We gotta do this. I come here to this color. You have to have that display color. Hit that binding. Come here to hit that binding. Okay. Now that should be everything. Hopefully, yes. The only thing I'm gonna do is just because I can, I'm gonna change this color to black. All the way black. There we go. I feel like that's kind of a nicer tone than what I originally showed. That's nice. Alright. So now that we have that done, we can kind of start. We can display our first dialogue now. But not yet. We have to actually tell it to display the dialogue now. So we're here. Hooray. Let me pull it up on the other screen so I can actually just do this right off the bat. Now, first things first is break this. When you have this answer, we're going to need to pull out different variables from here. Okay? We'll come over here and say find. We'll come here, and we can say get. Actually, grab this. We'll open this up. We're going to hide the rest of these pins because I don't really feel like having all these hang around, and they're not that important to actually look at right now. These are the only two of the things that matter. Okay? Lovely arrow. The only two things that matter. Now, we want to get this index both times. This is all that matters right there. Now we want to break this. Now we actually want to find the voice that should be displayed at this index. Okay? So take this voice byte, put that right there. We'll bring this right over here. We'll say is valid. The reason why is because the next step, if you don't do this, you need to have it's kind of annoying. It's really annoying, okay? But you need to create create widget. We're gonna do this twice. The first time is to actually do it with audio. The second time is to leave the audio blank. Reason being is because what I could do is set this to another variable right here, set this to an actual variable, and then plug it in here to solve that problem. But I don't really. It's probably a smart idea. We'll do that instead. Actually, no, we won't. We'll leave it as is. We'll leave this as is. Okay. We'll take this one, go down here. We'll get owning player. We'll plug that one right there, owning player. That's all nice. Just to kind of clean it up. Okay. Now, the next thing I shall do is I will grab this one. I'll plug this into display name. I'll bring this down. That right there. That is great. Now, oh wait, actually, no, that's not the one we wanted. We want this one to go here, and this display name to come from over here. Okay, oh, come on. Let's see. NPC name. There we go. That's better. So I'll throw this right over here. We'll bring it all the way. Put that to both. There we go. Now that's fixed. Now what it is we want to do is we want to grab the continue button, and we want to throw this right there. We want to do it again to both. Now this is where the difference comes in. Get duration. This is basically how long this audio will actually last for when it's being played. We'll plug that straight into here. Next thing we gotta do is we gotta take this and put that right into here. And we'll do that again. Put it into both. So this is where I was saying, you know, if there's no audio, we'll leave that at 0 so it can determine how long it should be on the screen for. Okay. Now we're also gonna get this byte from here. Excuse me. Throw that there. Now we want this dialog component. Sorry about that. And got that there. That was on there. Alright. So now what we'll do is we'll get this dialog. They should probably be answers. I mean, I'm trying to stay consistent, but hey, oh well. You can change it if you really want to. Let's say add child. We'll throw that down there, throw that right there. We'll copy this, we'll paste this. Let's say add. Wait, no. Sorry, just cut paste that. Throw that right there, throw that right there, and say add. We'll comment this off and say add dialog. There we go. That's what this is doing. Now the next thing we needed to do is, since we have all that done, we can come over here to continue. And we are basically going to do almost everything exactly the same as we did up here, except there'll be some changes. First thing, we can get rid of that. You might want to figure out what to do for this condition right here. If this is false, you might want to figure out what to do there. But for right now, I'm just going to leave it blank. Okay. So there's quite a few things we're going to have to do. Okay, first things first. We are going to have to get this speaking. We'll find it. Whatever this person. So again, this is mainly for like if you have other people talking. This will kind of keep track of who's talking and which index they are. Because if you look at this one right here, this text is going to be several lines that they could be talking about as part of one thing to say. So we want to keep track of this index of where it is here, and this will find the matching audio with the matching voice for that. Okay, so we want to keep this consistent. So that's why we're going to find the name. We're going to find his. We're going to find him. We're going to make sure. We're going to check to make sure that we're good with him. We're going to add one. So that means we're going to increment it, and then we'll just add this back. So that way it keeps track of his name and where he is at this current moment. Okay. Just gonna throw that right there. I should have done the other one. There we go. Alright, so we got that. Now we want to add a break. For right now, leave it as true. We'll finish that up in the next video. We're not going to do it in this video. But we'll come over here to this dialogue. Where'd it go? Right here. Square box. And we'll say add dialogue. And now what we'll do is we will throw this one in the index. So when we pull off this again, you don't have to worry, because since we're changing its value here, then we're just gonna get it again, and then do that. So you don't have to worry about anything. It'll work perfectly fine. We'll just throw this answer into answer, and looking ahead, let's just bring this right here, and this right over here. That way, it's in a nice position for later. The next thing we do. Throw that right here. This continue button. Same thing with this, because we're actually going to use this to actually put into another thing. Another event over here. Invite. Alright, this name can come from here. Alright, so that is that. Okay. The next thing we could do too is set up the play audio, but I'm not going to do that right now. Instead, what we got to do is we actually got to give them some audio, not some audio. We got to give them some dialogue to actually say. But for that, we need this root dialogue right here. Create a child and say test root. Throw it in the test contents. Alright, we'll come over here. Open this up, and we'll find the inherited variables right up here. Click that, inherited variables. Under greetings, now we want to figure out how is he going to greet us. Alright, so we might want to do a couple. We'll do one. Remember, this is going to be picked out randomized, because what you can do is you can go over here to override, and we'll say get greetings. And notice this is the parent override of what it was doing before. This is default. We can change it and do whatever we want here. So we can get rid of this all completely and say get, and then we can just get whatever the first value is and throw it in here. You know, that's kind of the beauty of overriding. So it's the same exact function. It'll call it the same exact way. The only difference is it has different logic in it, which is really, really nice. But, you know, we're not actually going to worry about that. So we'll come back here. Let's say hello. We'll say, how are you? I haven't. Wait, what am I doing? I haven't seen you in a bit. There we go, we got that. That's all we need for this, okay? So now we should be able to kind of test this, but one thing, what we gotta do, we gotta come over here, and we actually gotta set this here as default. Just so it's there so we can actually test it. Realistically, you want to keep this to none, and then when you're actually using it, you want to kind of come over to here. If it's not a player, you'd want to do some sort of logic and manually put this in, or find some way to do it by default. Like you want to figure out how to put this in somehow. So test root. All right, close that. Cross your fingers. Hopefully this all works, and we'll go right there. And there we go. How are you? But now all of a sudden I cannot continue. What we'll do is we will create a little function. We'll come here, say custom events. We'll say widget control. The whole point of this is just to get the controller. Say show mouse. Set this to true. Say set UI only, input mode only. And then the widget to focus on will be this one widget right here. So we've got that. Now if I go over here and play this, Hello, and it's still not working because I gotta call it. I called it at the end of this. Widget control. If you didn't see where I went over to the event enter dialog. Called it here. This is kind of something that's kind of tricky. You gotta kind of figure out where you want to actually put this. You might want to have a branch to actually figure out whether or not you wanna start off like that. This is just for testing, whatever. You find that this is not the place you want to set it, you can do whatever you want. Okay. So I hit play. Boom, here we go. Can't move around. Still nice. Hello. And now notice how he just keeps kind of looping around, because remember how he just had that loop open? He's not saying anything, he just keeps looping. Nothing's going on. Now if I do this again. Hello. Haven't seen you in a bit. You can see now we have this. We'll fix this up in the next video. Alright. Again, the reason why that's coming in is because we're just coming here. We're basically just keep looping around here and just keep going and going and going and going. So just keep incrementing it. And it's trying to pull out some information, but this index is not actually there. Because this is going to essentially just go up to like infinity more into computer crashes. And then over here, it's just going to keep trying to pull out that index, but it's not going to find it. And it's just going to keep going through here over and over and over again. So you're actually not going to get any display from here. Because if you notice over here, this one has 1 index. Over here has 2 indexes, or 1 and 0. So here we are. We can only get this and that. Then once we go up to 3, we no longer have that. Okay. So that's what this is doing. Next, what we'll do is we'll actually create some stuff to actually break from this, actually do some logic, and switch conversations and start actually adding things. Okay. Hope that was interesting. See you guys next time.